Now, Dmitry Babich is a political analyst at Sputnik International. He joins us now from Moscow for more on this. Dmitry, thanks so much for joining us. Now, what are the implications of this arms deal between Turkey and Russia?
Well, I think it's just a sign of the improving ties. It's a sign of trust that Russia has in Turkey. Our relations have not been spotless, as you already noted. But despite the differences that we have on Syria, the differences between Russia and Turkey on Syria are nothing compared to a really, I would say, hostile attitude which Russia and Turkey face from the European Union and from the United States. I think President Erdogan and President Putin, they have shown that two sovereign countries can come to an agreement. But coming to an agreement with the modern West is impossible. Look at the European Union. Since its inception in 1992, which countries did it make peace with? None. It managed to quarrel with Russia, with Turkey, with a lot of countries of the Middle East. It invaded several countries. And then we hear that Europe is the authors of peace and the model for everyone. So Russia and Turkey are getting closer not because we are ideal, but because the alternative, namely the European Union, is so terrible.
Now, Dmitry, let me ask you, do you think the US feels it's been left out of the Syria settlement, and how will it react to this Turkish-Russian cooperation?
Well, the US has already expressed its dissatisfaction with the arms deal between Russia and the United States. They keep talking about Turkey's membership in NATO, that all of Turkey anti-aircraft missiles should be compatible with NATO standards. But excuse me, this is against international law. Turkey is a sovereign country. It can buy weapons from anyone it wants, unless these are illegal suppliers. Russia is a legal supplier of weapons. So I think it's a test for Turkish sovereignty. If Turkey is a sovereign nation, it should not react, it should not bow to pressure from the United States. As for the situation in Syria, yes, you are right. The United States and the European Union are left out of the peace settlement for a very simple reason. They supported an illegal uprising in Syria. They never apologized for it. They helped the extremist Muslim groups, or rather Islamist groups in Syria. That left them out of the peace settlement. That's a very easy question to answer. They were left out not by Russia, not by Iran, not by Turkey. They were left out by themselves, by committing an act of aggression against Syria.
Dmitry, let me ask you, apart from Syria and Iraq, in what other areas of geopolitics do you think Turkey and Russia could cooperate?
Well, if you look at the so-called criticism to which Russia and Turkey are subjected by the European Union and by the United States, you see a lot of similarities. The Western press always draws parallels between President Putin and President Erdogan. I don't think these parallels are justified. But if you look at the picture of the world that the Western media creates, you have the ideal West, the peaceful United States, the flourishing Europe, which for some reason has to borrow money from China and even from Russia, and you have evil Turkey and evil Russia. This is a profoundly wrong picture. It has nothing to do with reality. And I think the main interest for Russia and for Turkey is to break that picture, to prove by our actions in Syria that we can make peace, that we can be peacekeepers rather than provocateurs of conflicts. If you look at the United States and the EU, they were provocateurs of conflicts in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Libya, in Syria. Everywhere they sowed nothing but death and destruction in the last 25 years at least.
Dmitry, thank you so much for that insight. Dmitry Babich, from political analyst at Sputnik International in Moscow. Thank you very much for that.